Man, they said you got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between.
Okay, so we started off your live on Facebook with this exact song.
You got to accentuate the positive. Everything right now you see around the world is just negative, negative, negative. Accentuate the positive. Accentuate the positive.
I know. And so we're going to bring that into the real estate world a little bit today. Escrow problems and what you can do about them. Okay, so that's the thing. Problems always happen in real estate. Problems always happen with properties, with escrows, with buyers, with sellers. It is just a fact of life. Almost every realtor that I've talked to that's been in the business a really long time, they all say the same thing. It's getting way harder to buy and sell houses than it has ever been in the past. They used to have escrows that just went seamlessly all the time. And now it seems like that's a rare thing. It's a rare to get a seamless escrow. So you and I have had issues in our escrows. But the thing is, a lot of people, they like to panic. They really like to panic when there's a problem. And what you need to do is give yourself that minute to panic and then say, what's another option?
That's true. When you are positive, you magnetize positive things. I mean, it's just true, and when you're negative, you attract negative things for the most part. I mean, it's very simple. But when you get into a situation where there's a lot of things going wrong and a lot of things are thrown at you, then yes, you got to stay positive and say, okay, what's going on? How can I look at this from a positive perspective? And it's really just practice. I mean, it truly is. So give me an example of something that has come up in the past, on some sort of deal, even with us or whatever, and I can show you the positive on it. Go ahead.
Okay. So I had a deal one time where we went to the final underwriter check. So we were, within a week of closing, we're in the final underwriting check, and all of a sudden, the underwriter says we can't give them this loan
Why?
because they don't have enough money. They don't have enough money to buy this property.
Really?
Yeah. What's the positive there, John?
So first of all, is that all the information that you're giving me to go on?
Yes.
Okay, so this is hypothetical, or is this a situation that you got into?
No, it's a situation that I was in.
Huh. Okay, so you're in underwriting. They don't have enough.
Well, we've already done underwriting. We've already, we're at the last week of the loan, and all of a sudden they say, well, there's not enough money. There's not enough cash to close. The loan amount can't go any higher because that's all they qualify for. And nobody else has any more money. And that's it.
Interesting. Okay, so here's how I look at the positive side of this. So when you are in a situation that creates a very tough situation, right? Your brain can either do a few things: panic and freak out and say, and get all heady about it, or go, okay, what's the solution? What is a way out or forward? Okay. So what is a way forward? Every single thing that you can think of, from the person who's selling the property to the person and their family that are around them. Can anybody help at all? And if the answer is no, they have no family, then are there external sources? Are there people, around them, neighbors? I remember walking into, okay, and within a couple months ago, walking into a house that was, few $1 million. And I came out of it and the neighbor was there. Now I knew the neighbor. Okay. So that's kind of, part of the equation here. And I said, hey, are you going to loan me? And I was joking, purely joking. I was like, are you going to loan me any money to buy this house? And he straight up said, well, I would on the down payment. and he was serious. Okay. So you got to throw stuff out in the atmosphere, like you got to go, okay, I really need this. Right. And telling people, I mean, having those conversations with people and going to the buyer, or I'm sorry, the seller, and saying, hey, here's what's happening. We're getting into this situation where they kicked us back, and here's what we can do. Okay. Let them decide. So that's a positive. And in a lot of ways, the seller may say, okay, I really want to sell this place. I'll carry the difference, So I don't see these things as necessarily a negative. I don't see these things as a speed bump even. I see this as oh, wait, okay, so you can't do that. That won't work. Okay.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to expand your brain, because once it happens once, it's going to happen again in the future. And if you've looked at all the different options of how to solve it, you'll be better equipped for the next time it happens. So in this particular instance, we talked to the seller. Would the seller do seller financing? So not even giving them a discount, but allowing them to repay it at an interest rate, giving it as like a mortgage. Seller decided no, that wasn't the right course for them. So then we went to the next option. Okay, is there, if we delay escrow, will they be able to save a little bit more money? No, that wasn't really going to be an option. There was a fixed income that was involved. Okay, well, what about family members? Is there any other family members that could loan the money or do a gift? And that's what it ended up being. But it took time because that person was from another country. So then the money had to be seasoned. There had to be all this back and forth. It took a really long time. I believe that escrow closed more than a month after when we thought it was going to close. But they were able to pull it together because they never stopped looking for a solution. It was the right seller. It was the right buyer. It was the right house. We just had to figure out how to make it work. And they did in the end. Okay, here's another one. Okay. Appraisal comes in low. How do you do that? Where do you go from there?
Well, it's a start of were there issues going into it? Mm-hmm. Was it a situation where the seller didn't want to sell it? And you need to ask yourself, is this the right deal? Is this I guess an answer to a prayer, or is this a situation that I should stop, smell the roses, and see if I'm serious about this deal? Mm-hmm. Okay. So those are the positive things, like things that are put in your way a lot of time is a chance for reflection and a chance to go, okay, is this the right situation?
Yeah.
Okay. This isn't a bad thing. Like everybody's just like, oh, smooth sailing. Well, look, I've had situations where, things have gone so smooth and gone, oh, they went so smooth because this was literally a money pit, and this was a situation that I should have stopped and smelled the flowers and smelled
stop
the roses.
And reassess. Yeah.
So those are the positive sides of things. And at the same time, if there's a reason why this is happening, look into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you overpaying for a property then? If you get a low appraisal, are there other, places in the vicinity that are priced lower or that have sold for lower? And are you getting yourself into a problem where you're overpaying for a property? That's another good one. The other thing could be that they see, they have different insights about the property. They have different feelings about the property. Sometimes a low appraisal is just a low appraisal, what can happen? So if you don't know, if you get a low appraisal, then the lender can't give you the money for the loan unless you either come up with the difference, you fight the appraisal. I've had instances where the appraiser is just, they are in a bad mood. They, see the property as, a lower value, whatever, but then you get it reassessed. You get another appraisal to come in, you fight the appraisal, and somebody, another appraiser says, no, it really is worth that amount. So, sometimes it can just be as simple as getting it reassessed, fighting the appraisal. And then sometimes it can be that you go back to the seller and say, well, it's not really worth that. Can we, work this out. Maybe I pay half and you pay half. Maybe you give me a discount. Maybe I pay this difference, but then you buy, down my rate for my loan so that I can still qualify for that amount. So, there are a lot of options. I'm going to throw another one at you. What if you get into escrow and your lender says, oh, I don't think they're going to qualify for the loan. I don't think they make enough money.
That's for me.
Yeah, that's for you. Find the positive in that. You're already in escrow, and then the lender says, I don't think they are going to be able to get this house because I don't think they make enough money.
Well, it goes back to, I think, a lot of the things that you mentioned is you go to the person who you're buying it from and saying, here's what the situation is. Do you have a solution? I think one of the biggest problems that people have in general is they hit a speed bump and they try to solve the problem themselves. Like, I am a huge fan of having everyone around me throw in their 2 cents. A lot of people get so, whether you call it closed-minded or what, I'm kind of like, my mind is only one. But if I have 100 people thinking of this, or as many people as I can in my group or my family and my friends online and so forth, look, they're going to be able to solve the problem. Everybody has been through so many different of these aspects that we're talking about. So they're going to suggest this and they're going to suggest this. I mean, until you use the hive mind, you don't see the power of it. Okay, so it's kind of like, oh, well, that may work for you, Johnny. Well, no, Johnny is that guy that walks down the street and asks people that are at the bus stop, ask people that are anywhere how to solve this problem,
Yeah.
And I don't know who that guy at the bus stop is. That guy at the bus stop literally could be, so-and-so and this and that and have all this experience.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing is basically look at the positive in all these different situations. So for me, if they didn't qualify, then again, can you work out something with the seller? Can you work out something with, a partnership? If they can't do it, maybe they can partner with somebody. I've seen that situation happen. I've been in that situation where I wasn't able to get this, so I had to partner with somebody, and then down the line, we changed it into me buying them out and so forth. So all these things take practice, and all these things are working within, that energy of here's a negative thing that a lot of people think of and think of, oh my gosh, this is great. This is a challenge.
Right.
Like that's how you have to think of. I know it sounds crazy, but like when it rains, instead of going, oh my gosh, it's raining, going, oh my gosh, it's raining, like in a positive way. Go out and enjoy the rain, smile at the rain, like do all that stuff. So if you keep yourself in a positive mentality, then a lot of this stuff will work itself out. And if it doesn't work itself out, then it's not, as they say, meant to be. But what happened is you actually worked all the problems, tried all the solutions, tried everything that you could possibly do to work it out. And if it couldn't work out, then maybe it didn't and wasn't supposed to.
Well, and don't panic about the timeline. A lot of people, there are deadlines in escrow. There are certain dates that you're supposed to meet. And those are hard and fast deadlines, okay? If you don't meet those, they can send you a notice to perform. But a lot of times they're going to be very understanding. If you have an issue, they'll give you the time because they don't want to see this deal go away either. We want to work for the best experience for the buyer, for the best experience for the seller. We want it all to come together. So if they need to give you an extra day for you to figure out a solution, typically they're going to give you an extra day to figure out a solution. So don't be so panicked by the timeline that you stop thinking clearly. I was talking to a lender about these buyers that weren't going to qualify. I said, okay, in what world would they qualify? Because you're telling me they've got this, this, and this that is a hindrance, there's a timeline issue. Okay, what's the date that it would work by? What is there a credit card we can pay off? Is there a gift amount that would change, how this all plays out? And all of a sudden, you can kind of hear the wheels turning in the lender's brain, and they'll figure it out because they know what it's going to take. But sometimes they get stuck and they're like, well, I just don't know. I don't know. Okay, well, let's problem solve it. Let's go through it. So I will say this, before you go into escrow, when you're choosing a lender, you want to talk to multiple minds. It goes back to the hive mind. Okay. So one lender may say you don't qualify. The next lender may say, oh, well, it's, you really only qualify for this. The next lender may say, well, if you can do this, this, and this, I could get you this amount. Okay. It still is about finding what works for you. If you feel comfortable with that payment amount, if you feel comfortable with, all the other terms, then you want to see, this lender may have a really low rate as far as interest rate, but they're qualifying you at a much lower amount. This one may qualify you for higher. The interest rate might be a little bit higher, but in the end, if there's some buy downs, if there's a credit card paid off, whatever, it may work itself out to be about the same monthly payment. So when you're looking, talk to a lot of people. Talk to different lenders. Talk to your realtor. Ask them questions. Well, what if we were in this situation? What if we were in that situation? And, pick a realtor that is going to be with you and beside you in helping you solve these problems. A lot of realtors, they have experience, right? They only have experience with the deals that they've done. But what's great is your realtor belongs to a brokerage 9 times out of 10. And that brokerage may have solutions. I mean, I go to my office manager all the time. How could I make this work? I talk to other realtors. How can I make this work? And they'll have a lot of different, information. So don't be afraid to talk to your realtor, talk to your lender, talk to different people, get those solutions.
And if you only heard one point in what you just said, it's how. Accentuate the how, eliminate the I can't. Okay, so literally take that out of your vocabulary. I can't do this, but you can't. No. How can I? How can you do this? How? And keep pushing that until there's an answer. And sometimes you may have several answers, and then it's a matter of figuring out what's the best answer for, that situation.
Right, exactly. So accentuate the positive, folks. We hope that you have a wonderful day, whether it's raining or sunny or snowing or wherever you are. Embrace it all. So this has been Natalie Oman with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, California Properties, DRE 02085495, and my co-real estate investor and life partner, Johnny Kubelka. So hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Accentuate the positive.